All right, here we go. Time to start a new campaign. This one is Red Skies. As you can see if you've logged into the server.
Hmm.
This one is all about oceans and ships and other things that will eventually come to the fore. But for this beginning part, it's all about oceans and ships. And maybe being pirates, or maybe being privateers, or maybe being, whatever you want to be, really. This one's going to be a lot of sandboxy stuff. So, what I mean by sandboxy stuff here is the the there's a few places where there's not a lot of choices. Not in the sense that I'm trying to railroad you, but just because certain events happen, and if you lose your ship, there's only certain things you can do once you get to that problem or something like that. But there are a lot of spots where it opens up wide for sandbox. So what do I mean by sandbox? Sandbox means that I'm literally going to say, here's a map. Oh, come on. You don't have to own any tokens on this configure. It's not intended to have that. Oh, right. I just need to remove. Right. Save changes. Now you can all see it. Here's a map. Where do you want to go? And then you'll pick a spot. You guys will decide on a spot, and you'll go to that spot. And along the way, you might encounter something, you might not. Maybe a storm comes up, maybe something else happens. You get there, you explore that, you find some stuff, you do some stuff. But it's really the onus is going to be on you guys to decide where you want to go. Now, the map right now is a little lighter than I want it to be. It's only got the things that I've kind of talked about in the intro. Karamirgal is over here. You got Wensmar on this island right here. Actually, I should be using my pointer. Wensmar right here. Got Parhope down here. Calastria all the way over here. And Emerdal all the way here on the western side. So this is the current path that the Maiden's Folly is taking. As it leaves Karamirgal, comes around through the southern South Ferran. This is the South Ferran island. Comes up and around to Calastria, and then eventually over to Emerdal. Um,
Hey,
so,
Peter,
yep,
are you sharing screen or just on the app?
this is on the VTT. So if you're not in the VTT,
Okay.
I'm sorry.
No, I can get back to it. I was on the other site.
Yeah, no, it's on. Uh, Most of what we'll talk about today will be. I mean, I can share the screen if you want, but it's all. Most of it's going to be in here. Um, so we got that. So I just wanted to make it clear that there are certain times, like the middle third or the middle half of this entire campaign will be very sandbox. And when I say go places, you're not limited to the Sea of Tears. It's just this is where you're starting off. If you really would like to go north and east into other places, you can. I'm not going to stop you. You just you will be limited mostly by supplies and money. That will be mostly your limits. Um, if you don't have enough supplies to and enough money to pay your crew to get you to, the northeastern part of the Nairavan uh, archipelago, then probably shouldn't do it. You can try, but you probably shouldn't do it. Um, that kind of brings up the next part, which is money and stuff like that is going to matter more in this campaign than it has sort of in the past, because it's going to be a resource. You're going to have to pay attention to your resources a bit more. Um, I will not worry so much about encumbrance too much, but if you come to me and say, "Oh yeah, I've got these 30 weapons," I'm probably going to say, "No, you don't have 30 weapons. You can't carry all that." Um,
Sure.
but I am going to pay attention to, hey, you have 20 arrows. You shoot all 20 arrows. You don't have any arrows anymore. You're not using that bow anymore. Um, and you have a pistol and you're shooting lead shot out of that pistol. Well, once you're done with all that lead shot, you got to buy more, man. Um, so we're gonna have a little bit more of that than I have done in the past.
So we need to tell you if we're retrieving our arrows and
Yep.
crossbow bolts and things like that.
Yeah. I may do a couple things. Like I was running another system where when you shot an arrow or shot something, you rolled a die, and that told you whether or not you basically it started off at a D12. If you rolled a 1 on your D12, that meant that you went down to a D10. 1 on a D10 means you go down to a D8. One on a D8 goes to a D6. One on a D6 goes to a D4. One on a D4 means you're out. You don't have any more. So I may do something like that, but for now we'll just keep track of it. So that is one thing you do need to keep track of. And note in my kids campaign, I'm keeping track of it just by either reminding them to mark it off, or when I go back through and write reports for the session, I actually count down what they've all used. So you won't pull anything on me this time. Not that I'm expecting you guys to. It's just one of those things where I am keeping track of it. All right, so I was going to have us, kind of go over the characters, get them all into VTT, and then do an initial kind of how do you get on the ship night. Because of work, we're probably not going to do that second part, which is the how do you get on the ship night. We'll probably start the session next week on that. But so what we really should do is start going through who's playing what, because I know Andy was concerned about, he was going to try to pick something that complemented the rest of the group and things like that. So let us start with, well, let's see here. We got, let's start with Andy. No, I'm kidding. You were the one that was kind of curious what it's saying. Chad, you were the first one to get somebody onto the site. So what is your character and class, and kind of what are you thinking about background wise for him or her? Shouldn't make assumptions.
All right, so it's a him, and it's Hilo Morbicon.
Morbid.
And so he is a fighter, and he is human, and he's what was it?
What kind of human is he? Is he serially dairy?
I really couldn't figure that out. He's just, okay. I really didn't understand enough of the differences to matter.
Well, the differences are more mechanics in the sense that the serially are basically your typical, like the typical human, like the +1 across everything human.
Right. Okay. That's who he is. Then.
Okay. Well, and then the diary have specific stats. They have some specific stuff. And then there's sort of a mixed race human, which is kind of those guys mixing together, which is the 2 stats, a feat, and a skill thing. One.
Okay.
So is the Verdure also a human type?
Verdure is definitely a human type, but they've kind of offshot a bit. Like, I wouldn't really consider them humans per se.
They've got web feet, is what you're telling me?
No, I'm not. They don't have web feet, but they have very gray skin. They're typically around 7 feet tall.
I clicked on the thing and read that they like prefer water and stuff, so that makes sense.
Well, no, they're like Vikings. Their culture is like Vikings, but they
ice things.
But they have at some point in the past crossed paths with something, probably a giant of some sort, and have crossbred with that, and that has turned into its own kind of thing. So, while they are very human-like in many ways, I wouldn't consider them humans anymore. Okay, so I mean, he's choosing the path of Corsair fighter. Okay.
And he was he's what do they call? What did you call that? It's not a survival. It's a
Outlander.
Hold on. It was one of the backgrounds. It's I don't want to look at that ad.
Folk hero.
Nomad.
He's a castaway.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I should have just thought of
Tom Hanks.
Yes, exactly. Thank you. So here's the deal. So when he was like about 5 years old, he and his mom and dad were captured by some pirates or something. He's a little vague on the whole details. Mm-hmm. They thought that his father was someone important and they could get a ransom, but it turns out he was not all that important. So they were about ready to feed him to the sharks. And then like the first mate on the ship had some sort of compassion possibly because something Hilo did. I don't know. And they just ended up dropping him off at a nearby island.
Okay.
And they were able to survive there. It was just a tiny little island for the last 14 years. His father died 5 years ago.
Okay.
But you want me to give them the whole background? I can do you.
It's up to you. Like, I
Okay.
mean, how the questions I have, like, you give me as much as you want, as long as you're okay with everybody else hearing it. It's probably the best way to put it.
Yeah, that's fine.
If you
I don't care.
if you wish to tell me something afterwards via email or something like that you want to kind of keep back, by all means, we can do that too.
Oh yeah. So far, I don't have anything. So
Yeah, no, that's fine. That's what I want to kind of point out. So.
his father had died on the island about 5 years ago, but he himself was a fighter, and so he trained Hilo daily in combat fighting. His mother taught him how to survive, and also taught him to mistrust all pirates. But he's also really curious and naive because he's like 19 years old. So,
Okay.
I
see. We've went from 14 to 19. Got it.
Well, that was 14 years on. He was 5 when he went to the island.
No, I meant from the halfling.
Oh yeah. Okay, so then we're not growing up much, are we? They were rescued about 5 months ago. There was a pirate ship they were coming on to bury some treasure, and then they got on the ship, and then the cook and his mother fell in love, which is really weird, and is having a hard time dealing with this. So once he realized, hey, maybe it's my time to move on. He gets over to what is it, Mirror, whatever.
Mirror, yep.
Yeah, he gets off there, and about 3 weeks ago, and he's been looking for a ship and a crew to take him on an adventure.
Okay.
He does know exactly where they buried the treasure on the island, but he's a little sketchy on exactly where the island is. So, he's tall. He's just like 6'3". He's lanky. He hasn't filled out. Muscularly, he hasn't filled out. He has his father's weapons and his armor. It doesn't fit very well since his father was a little bit shorter and more muscular.
Okay.
But he's thinking he's going to grow into it, and then when he has some money, he'll get the length adjusted. So anyway, he's continued to practice, but he has no real world experience in fighting.
Okay.
He's not very charismatic. He hasn't been around society. He's a bit rough around the edges, and he has a bad case of acne.
Okay.
So hopefully that'll work itself. So that's him.
Cool. All right. That's Hilo. So we got a fighter at this point. You're listening, Andy, because get around to you eventually.
I had actually picked something I kind of wanted to do. So.
Okay. Let us go with Brian next.
All right.
Because you were on there pretty quickly too. So.
Yes, my character is named Praetus Curia. He calls himself a reverend. He's a stickler on that. He calls himself Reverend Praetus Curia. The reason he calls himself that is because he believes that he is bringing back one of the long forgotten gods of this area. So he's branding himself as the new clergy and stuff like that. That's why he goes by Reverend. He is a warlock. He is a gnome Azumar. Yes.
Okay, so he's a gnome.
He's a gnome, but he's been imbued by a celestial.
Okay. So short. I'm making sure GNOME is what I'm making sure.
Yes, and
Okay.
gnome.
Okay, because known is for the first time I heard you, I thought you said known as in KNOWN, as in
no.
people knew. So,
Yeah, no.
gotcha.
GNO gnome.
Okay.
He is only about I'd say 3 feet.
No, that's all good. I was just curious. I wanted to make sure.
Not a big fella, but he's got a big voice. So he used to be a sage. That's how he came across these. He came across in his research some ancient scrolls or something like that of this specific god. When he read through it, he kind of became obsessed with it, and eventually his obsession drove him to make a pact with this god. So he's a warlock of the pact with Celestial. And yeah, his drive is to create a new world order by way of this old god's religion.
Okay.
He
Go
sorry.
ahead. I was going to ask if there was any particular spot he came from. Or is there any particular thing
Well,
you're looking for from the place that he came from? Like, it doesn't have to be from around here. It can be from anywhere in the whole place. Just because I haven't detailed something doesn't mean it can't be somewhere.
I hadn't exactly figured out the geography of where he came from. I was thinking it would probably be more of a more northern,
Okay.
rural area.
Okay.
Like,
Yeah, I mean,
I don't imagine he's.
should have totally made this map here. While you're talking, I will be making it.
He's up from that kind of like just a small gnomish community, and he left that community because of being an Azamar as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because he felt a bit like an outcast in his own people, because everyone else is a little gnome, and here's this dude with gold eyes and pale
Right.
purple skin, walking around. So he left in search he left to become a sage to try and figure out what his reason to be here was, and why he was like this, and
Mm-hmm.
just further understand the lore of this world. That's how he came across it.
Okay.
But he got on the boat and in a Calastria.
Well, we haven't made it to
which he had-
Calastria yet, actually. The three places
I
you
thought
can.
you said that was one of the ones.
That's one of the places it's going to, but currently it has only made it
Oh,
from Kermergel, Wensmar, and Port Hope. Those are the only three places it's
right.
been to.
I missed.
No, that's all right. That's all right. It's going to Calastria, but it's not there yet.
Okay. Then I say probably
Yes.
gone on in Port Hope.
Okay.
Which he'd only been in like a day. He was just trying to find this boat to Calastria.
Right. Sorry, I'm trying to
As soon as possible.
find this thing. Mid. Just trying to get a map. You guys. Okay. Yeah. All right. Let me copy this in real quick, and we will go on to the next person. Images, maps. Boom. There we go. Now I can give you guys a world map too, which I should have done before. Where is this? I put it in the wrong one. I might have put it in the wrong one. I'm running both. Yep, I'm running both of these. I'm running two campaigns from the same server for the first time, and so it's a little confusing at times. All right, so now if you guys want, you can view the entire world map as well. That will also be in here for you. Yeah, so the gnomes pretty much, there are gnome communities pretty much anywhere, so it doesn't have to, you don't have to necessarily come up with where you've been right away. The only place that there isn't one is the Sifnos Rift. There's no gnomes there. Talene pretty much doesn't have anything on it, which is, sorry, I should be doing this. Talene doesn't pretty much have anything on it. Sifnos Rift, not going to be gnomes there, but pretty much anywhere else you can probably find gnomes, even in the Avalin Islands and things like that.
Up here in Verdurn.
Verdure is where the Verdure Vikings are. It's pretty cold. But there could be gnomes there. It wouldn't. I mean, there are a lot of places.
Yeah, if I can put gnomes there, I think that's kind of
Right. I will have to.
Kind of cold, forestish place up there.
Well, so there's this island right here, which is off the coast of Verdure. That is not quite as cold as Verdure. Verdure is pretty much ice ridden and all that sort of stuff, at least up in this portion. But there could easily be gnomes here. There's a pretty big If you kind of look at it, there's a pretty. Oh, I clicked right on it.
Yeah, big kind of forest.
Kind of forested area and all that sort of stuff. So, all right. I didn't know if I
Yeah, that
clicked.
worked.
I didn't realize clicking on it would. Oh, if I right click, that's kind of cool. All right, I just learned something. All right, so all right, let us go to Cole. Let's go with you next.
My guy is gonna be a paladin.
Right. What's his name?
Aaron Bear,
Gotcha.
and he's an elvish prince.
So that one we'll have to talk about. The Fae tend to not leave their forests. He could be half elven,
Sure,
if that's okay.
that's fine.
But yes, he could definitely be half elf. Half
Yeah,
elves
that's fine.
definitely are all around. All right, so he's a half elf. He can even be the descendant of bastard son of a prince. That's fine too.
Oh, I like that. I want him to be noble.
He can still be that. He just may not know it. But we'll talk about that. So Aaron Bear is a paladin, half elf. What else you got for him?
I don't remember because my stuff got not saved. He's gonna follow the origin thing. He's currently exploring the world, you know, because he's not ready. He's shunned from the elves and stuff.
Mhm.
So he's decided he'll just explore the world.
So, for your edification, elves mostly come from here and from here.
Okay.
So, more than likely, he's either from the I don't have the political one here, but more than likely, he's either from the Diary Shires, which are right here, or he's from the Kingdom of Salam, which is right here.
All right, I am back.
All right. Well, we haven't gotten to you yet, so you're all good.
Cool. So what are you guys looking at right now?
We're looking at the world map. That's
The
what
map.
People go over their characters a bit.
That's really all I can remember that I have for him right now.
Okay. All right.
I just heard you say right here, and I couldn't tell where you were pointing.
Because I'm on the VTT, so if you were to go there,
okay.
you'd see.
I logged into that and it didn't pull up anything.
Make sure
Make
you
sure
use
it's
the one.
1802.
It's 1802. Okay.
Yeah, it's the one that has been updated in the announcement.
Yeah, Facebook announcements.
Okay. All right. So what we've got right now, we got a fighter who's going to be a corsair. We've got a warlock, and we have a pact of celestial, and we have a paladin, who will probably pick a paladin order at some point. I will remind you, Cole, that there is no alignment. However, you will be taking an oath, and there will be tenets of that oath. And if you deviate from those tenets, your powers will slowly dwindle away. Just as an FYI.
I remember that.
Just reminding you. Not that I'm trying to scare you off from being a paladin. That's all cool. Same thing for you, Brian. We will give you a pact when as we sit down and figure that out over the next week. You'll get a pact, and there will be some, in essence, the pact itself will be, you have to do this so that I will give you power to do it. And if you don't do some of those things, you will, again, lose some of those powers. Let us go with John, because I know John has a character. And he's probably muted.
I do. I've just got to pull the thing away from Cat.
So I know you have a character.
I may have to change my character because I'm pretty much sounding a lot like a Corsair. I'm going to do a fighter Corsair monk combo.
Oh God! Why the monk? Can we not play a game where you're not some sort of monk?
No. So
what level are we starting at?
First.
2.
Oh.
No. We don't. Well,
no.
That's what I'll eventually be anyway.
This campaign is first level.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's what I will be. So, I guess I'll start off with the monk level then. But essentially, I'm going to be a swashbuckler, which, like I said, seems like it's going to stomp on someone's toes, but it's Marcus Teach. He is he's really not sure who his parents were. He was raised by a
Monk.
organization, monastery / thieves. So it's basically a thieves guild type, but they pretend to be a monastery and have some of the same training. But he's always he's never felt in there. And since he was raised there, he eventually ran away and went to sea. So he's got a sailor background. Is going to be his background, or pirate. I haven't really decided which.
You should play a bard.
No, I'm not going to play a bard. You should be quiet. Anyway, but like I said, I may change everything because it sounds like we already have a Corsair. So I'll still go with the same background. I may change classes is what I'll do.
Okay.
I know we could technically do 2 Corsairs. It's just 2 fighters who are...
Yeah, it's just 2 fighters. You can do whatever you want, man.
I know, but I didn't realize we had another specific, that type of guy. So
neither did I.
I would point one of the 2 of you to Gunslinger at some point. It's a pretty interesting class, but...
I thought about doing the Gunslinger, but I want to do the Gunslinger classic pirate, where you have the brace of pistols style.
No, that's the Pistolier.
Okay. Well,
There is
don't
a
we have one of
Gunslinger.
Those as well?
No, not that I know of, but we'll get there.
Okay. Well, but that's my background. It's going to be Marcus Teach. Like I said, I'm going to stick with I may drop the monk thing if I go more Pistolier, but I'm going to be a fighter class.
Okay, real quick. Cole, where is Aaron getting on the ship at? If we go back to the Sea of Tears here. You have Caer Miguel, which is the start of the ship trip. Wensmar, which is after a couple days. Port Hope, which is a little bit later, and those are the 3.
Port Hope.
Okay. All right. So John, you are Marcus Teach. I probably spelled it wrong. And for now, you're a fighter.
Yeah.
Where were you planning on getting on? Oh, you said Caer Miguel.
Yes. I'm from a bigger city because that'll give me a lot more stuff I could have known.
Okay. All right. Let's go with Robert.
Hello.
I read a little bit of your thing on the World Anvil stuff.
That's basically the idea that I'm going for.
So provide the information you wish to provide that you're okay with for the group hearing, and then I will give you a couple of tidbits of information that you might need to know, which may tweak some things. But provide. What you have
I'm just
first.
going to give him the short bio that I gave you.
That's fine. That's fine.
That Eylis Burdine was kept locked away by his parents in Port Hope when he discovered his arcane abilities. He continued to practice by night before eventually escaping and boarding a ship to flee from the oppressive military that hunts his kind.
Okay. So
in Port Hope, I'm pretty sure there is a pretty big military presence.
There is a military presence, but it is the military presence for Caer Miguel. That's a diary. They're not actually out to kill wizards, sorcerers, and warlocks. They're just protecting the Ironwood Forest, which is nearby, because Ironwood is highly prized for ships and other things. So that's why they're there. They would be more likely to say, "Oh, you know sorcery? Hey, could you join us?" than they would to be, "Hey, we're going to kill you." They might try to conscript you, but they would never try to kill you.
So where are they hunting wizards?
So we'll go back. You're attached now? Yes, you are. I was trying to see if you were on the thing. So wizards are hunted in this particular area right here. So all of this island, Sirvine,
Gotcha.
And basically from about here all the way down this eastern coast here. So all of that is the kingdom of Searly, and the Chosen of Seer, which is basically a church organization, basically has an ongoing inquisition against wizards, warlocks, sorcerers, the Fae, actually, like elves, anything that they see as magical or inherently magical. Now you'd be like, well, that's got to be halflings and gnomes, right? Well, no, because they're okay with magic in objects, in the sense like they're okay with artificers and alchemists and things like that. They're not actually after them. They kind of regulate it a little bit. Like if somebody starts to get a little too powerful, they will step in and go like, "What you doing?" But they're not after those guys per se. But the pure spellcasting classes, they are definitely after.
Gotcha. So I'm assuming in that case, it might make a little bit more sense for me to get on at Cairmagel.
Yeah, that's fine. And you can even, if you still want to have that background, I would suggest that you're from some city here on the eastern coast.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. And then I just like scooted over here.
Yeah, and your background is fine. It's actually cool because then that means you give me lots of opportunity to interweave you into certain portions of the story.
Yes, so that's what I want.
All cool with that. I just wanted to make sure that you understood that it was over here, that they're actively hunting. They do send out inquisitors into the rest of the world. And in fact, that's
what I want.
Well, and that's one of the big problems right now between the Dire Kingdoms, which are all on this side. There's like 5 different Dire Kingdoms on this side of the thing, and one here. The Ave clans and stuff like here, and all of the independent city states that are over here are all really pissed off at the Searly Kingdom because they keep sending inquisitors in and killing people extra judicially, and it causes a pretty big conflict is brewing because of this. So yes, just because you are over here doesn't mean you're safe. It just means you're less likely to be immediately hunted down.
Gotcha. Very cool.
All right, so you're starting off at Cairmagel. All right. You were being a sorcerer, correct? Or are you a wizard?
Correct. No, a sorcerer.
Okay. I just want to make sure. What bloodline were you going to take? I might ask.
What were my options again?
Well, there's tons. I mean, like there is the Storm Sorcerer. Somebody in my work group is playing one of them. He's not super hot on the thing. Like he's he's playing it from a role playing standpoint, but he feels like it's a little underpowered.
I feel like I didn't look up sorcerer enough because I didn't even know that.
Well, there's draconic.
So this is cool.
Yeah, you need to pick your bloodline at the beginning. Unlike some of the other classes where they get their stuff at third, sorcerers and like wizards and stuff, and like the warlock all pick their stuff, their archetype at the beginning. There is like the draconic bloodlines, so you'd be descended. Sometime in the past, you had some dragon blood. There's a devil one, which is what Andy played last time. He played the devil bloodline. There's several like. Well, hey, I've got a whole bunch of books right here. I should just pull it up. So Tasha's has.
So I'm seeing the wild magic.
Wild magic is
draconic are in the player's handbook,
yep.
But. There's a few other ones.
Tasha's has Aberrant Mind and Clockwork Soul.
Storm magic.
Storm one, I think, is in Xanathar, I think.
Yeah.
Xanathar's has Divine Soul, Shadow Magic, and Storm Sorcery.
Yeah.
I'm curious about Shadow Magic now.
I'm on D&D 5e at Wikidot.
Yep.
Has all the stuff.
That doesn't mean that you have to pick any of those. I mean, if you're curious about like, hey, I would like to play a Tempest Sorcerer, or I want to be ice based, or I want to be fire based, or I want to be, air based or water based, or I want to be descended from Fae. I mean, we can always come up with stuff like that.
I'm thinking either the Storm or the wild magic would probably be more in line with what I'm trying to do.
Yeah. Well, keep that in mind because you kind of have to make that decision before next week.
Yeah, I will do.
All right.
Probably tonight.
Yeah. All right, we got 2 more left. Kat, we're going to go with you next. Kat. Are you guys muted?
Yeah. Binder, half elf.
Okay, so you're going to be a half elf binder. You got a name?
Yes. Yeah, no, I did. I'm trying to remember it.
Mm-hmm.
Dreska.
Dreska.
Dreska Orlia.
I'm
A
ready.
E R L I A.
Aerla. That makes sense. Half elf binder. All right. So where are you from? Actually, binders. Remember how I was talking about sorcerers, Searly and the sorcerers. Binders are a similar kind of thing. If you were a binder in the kingdoms that are right in here, that would be a problem. But anywhere else, it's not a problem per se, unless you gain the attention of the Searly. But anyway, half elf binder. Do you have a little background? Do you want to share? Are you still thinking through that?
Maybe I have amnesia right now. We'll go with that. I got on the Port of Hope.
Okay.
I woke up in the Port of Hope not knowing how I got there. I imagine I got in some sort of fight and got knocked on the head, so I have some sort of temporary amnesia.
Okay.
Or you cut a really bad deal and you.
I got a poor pact.
Mm-hmm.
And as part of that, I have a temporary amnesia.
Okay. No, that's cool. I'm cool with that. All right. Anything else you want to add? I'm asking. You don't have to. I'm not trying to force anything on you. I'm just.
So I know I had to get on a ship. I don't know why, especially given I don't know what I was doing in the Port of Hope, but I have this compelling urge to get on the ship.
Okay. Cool. Andrew, we're at you.
All right. Well, I was also thinking about playing a paladin because I didn't know if we were going to have anything like that. So I was like, and I was also reading about the Oath of the Deep thing you had on there. I was like, this sounds really cool. I want to do that
if you wish. I
was gonna do that one.
Two different
paladins are fine. My idea was to I was gonna play the lizard people.
Which kind?
There's only one lizard person.
No, there's 3 subspecies.
There is?
Yep. There's the Malazan.
What page is this on?
The Malazan have 3 subspecies: the Naga, the Alak, and the other one, which I can't remember the name of.
I don't know what page this is on because I was looking for stuff about this, and all I saw was the one little blurb about it.
If you were attached, which you are now, if you go to the campaign page, so if you go to the view campaign, the campaign page, there will be at the bottom of there will be a welcome to Red Skies.
Yeah,
you click on that, and you bring up that article. Towards the bottom of that article, there will be a races thing, which you click on that. That'll be the entire.
It's not hyperlinked.
Why did it not go to that? Okay, so it got broken.
Yeah. I thought it was just talking about the couple of things that were up here.
No. There's an entire document. Let me go fix it real quick.
Okay, so I don't know which one.
There are 3 kinds. One is basically snake-based, one is basically chameleon-based, and one is basically alligator-based.
Oh, see, I have so many cool things to pick now. I thought it was just going to be
there's a lot
standard
of
lizard.
Stuff. No. It's there are more than that. There would be like lizard folk would be the traditional lizard folk style.
Yeah. I thought that's what it was going to be like. I thought it was just going to be like the lizard folk we thought last.
It's not just that.
Oh no, we fought frog people last time.
You fought frog people, but I mean, in essence, the Malazan are all just a series of different lizards that had evolved at a certain point.
I was Googling it a bit, and I did see some stuff about that. It was showing a whole bunch of different lizards. Like I think some of them were the size. Like I think some of the biggest ones were like the size of look kind of like dinosaurs in some way.
Gotta find the articles.
But I was pretty sure that's not the ones we were using.
No, it is.
Because they were quite large.
No, these are. Let me find you the document real quick. I don't know why I cannot find it. Campaign. No.
The wild magic surge table is insane. I love it.
It is kind of insane.
I might have to do wild magic just for this.
Hold on, I should be able to.
Wild magic is pretty wild, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I can just turn myself blue by accident.
That's awesome. Let's go.
Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff like that. So let's see here. Why is this broken? Should be.
See, if you do that, will you be automatically proficient in some sort of musical instrument that might have been used by the Blue Man Group? Is that how that works?
Yes.
That's
until I remove the curse.
I agree. That would make sense, actually.
It does have the correct link in there. That's a bit weird.
I don't know. It's
No, no.
broken in some way.
I know.
Now it's there twice.
Well, it's because I was modifying it. Let me save the changes. Let me view it.
I could see it changing stuff because it's moved some things around.
Yeah, when I'm. Yeah, why is it going away? That's interesting. Did I rename it and it's now broken? Let me do articles. Race. There's
the,
2 of them.
Was
And
it linked
that's why
somewhere
it's
else?
confused.
Ah.
Let me
Were there
s-
links for like the ships of the sea and sky and Aethyr Tech on the bottom too?
Yep.
Those are both broken as well.
Yeah, probably because I save. Yeah, it's weird. It is totally broken for some reason. And I think it's because this one is not supposed to be there. Yeah, it's because there's 2 of them. All right, give me a second. I need to delete something. We delete that one. Confirm it. Now see if you can actually click on that link and it'll work.
We'll reload. I do not have a link.
Okay, so
The font has changed.
that's because it broke. So it was the wrong thing. So let me edit it real quick and I'll fix it. That's why it was broken.
Yeah, it went from being bold to being not bold.
That's because it is...
Bold of you, my friend.
Which might explain why the class's header looks different.
And now it's a different link when I save it. Somehow it got 2 of them in there.
Okay. There
So
we go.
Now if you go to it, you'll see that there's Naga, Alak, and Kalian.
Kalian. Interesting.
And they each have different things. Ways of doing stuff. Oh, I know why it broke. It broke because I added this thing. I added this to the other campaign thing. And so I bet all of these started potentially breaking. Well, that sucks. All right. Anyway, so you'll pick one of those.
Yes.
You wish to be a paladin, Order of the Deep.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna do.
And
The
where,
deep.
any particular background? And dinner is.
I was gonna do the ship surgeon one.
Okay.
Yeah. I was going like full on protective boy. Like I was gonna take the protection fighting style and everything.
All right.
Go, after that point.
Were you already going to be on the ship as a crew member, or did you want to
yeah.
be picked up somewhere?
No, I think it would make sense for me to be already on because most of the places that it's already stopped at are like cities of some kind at least. Like I know the first one is
Well,
pretty big.
most of the Malazan live all over the sea.
No, I know that, but like I do know it said that
See.
they tend to get enslaved. So
Well, mostly up here. They're mostly enslaved up there.
I'm on the wrong thing. Over here.
Yeah, they're mostly in the Solari Isles. The city-states of Solar are the ones that enslave most of them.
Mhm.
But there are enslaved, like Calastria is a set of plantations which is worked by Malazan slaves. So there are slaves even in the Sea of Tears itself. Just depending on, you think of it as a colonial kind of thing where somebody's moved in, takes over an island, enslaves the inhabitants, and makes them work for them. Not all the islands are that way, but the Diary tend to believe in freedom, so they tend to. All of these places are free. Don't have any of them. Seerly think of them all as savages, so why would they want them in their homes? So they just don't. Some of them may have them. Some of the upper crust may have them as slaves, but for the most part, they have the Diary for that. So why would they need the Seerly or the
Malazan.
the Malazan?
Makes sense.
The Ave are not that kind of people. They think of them as a Japanese kind of style culture. They're birds. So there's a lot of stuff here that just that's just not their thing. The Verdure already have their own problems, and the Malazan would probably have problems living up in the ice anyway. being lizards and things. So yeah, I mean, all right, but you can already be already on the.
I'm probably gonna do the alligator one. I think that's
Okay, no, that's
most
fine.
sense.
All right. All right. So
But
what do
yeah,
you guys
I'll
got?
already be on the boat.
You guys currently have 2 fighters, 2 paladins, a warlock, a sorcerer, and a binder. So you guys are
pretty good.
fighter heavy, just fine. You're hybrid heavy in the sense that you've got 2 paladins, which are going to be sort of hybrid healer fighters. You've got binder, which is a hybrid, the ultimate hybrid, given the fact that she can pick up packs that are pretty much almost anything, in some sense. You have a warlock, who's going to be your sort of a wizardish kind of guy, although he's again going to be trying to bring back a religion, so in some sense maybe he's going to have some healing ability. You don't know, maybe it's a possibility. And then you've got a sorcerer who's, well, sounds like he's going to be not very reliable.
Look, I'm learning here. My magic was suppressed.
I know. I'm just
Wild
kidding.
magic is not a fun thing, Robert. Just so you know, it's a lot more random, and there are some bad things. So
Yeah, I'm reading about it.
for all of us, all
Yeah.
of us, not just you, all of us.
You guys are
It'll be
fine.
fun.
You're trying to deny me my past, saying be better at magic or something?
Yeah,
No,
see,
I'm just
yeah.
saying
Nah, go
all of
crazy.
us are going to
Get
get screwed
wild
by
with
wild
it.
magic.
What,
Okay,
you don't
so-
want me to cast a fireball as a 3rd level spell centered on myself by accident?
Yeah, that's
You
exactly
don't,
what
you
I'm
don't
talking
want
about.
him. You don't want him to turn into a plant for a turn.
Yeah, you don't think that'd be funny? I think that'd be
Cast polymorph on myself, and if I fail the saving throw, I turn into a sheep.
I mean,
funny. I
if
think that'd be
you-
really funny.
It would be really funny.
I don't mind you doing it to yourself. It's just, again, all of us is the issue.
Just don't stand
Nah,
near
we-
me, and
We
it'll
could just
be
turn
fine.
all of us into sheep. That's even more funny.
So
That sounds
accidentally
hilarious.
cause a storm to, and become stronger than it was just because it's good for the game. I don't know.
I
All
think
right,
it'd be really
I'm
funny.
also thinking about the storm sorcery because I
Yeah.
think that would be kind of cool.
yeah, no, I mean, and like I
With
said,
the-
if you feel like there's maybe something else you want to look at that's not in there, we can always talk about it too.
Yee.
I'm not. I
Now,
literally
both
and-
of these kind of are right on the money with what I was thinking
Okay.
about doing.
No, that's fine. I'm just trying to point out like the order, the oath that Andy's thinking of taking. I literally made for a player in the
Yeah.
in the other.
Oh, is
the
it not
group.
like the one I found online?
No, I mean if you.
It's not linked, so I
you're
couldn't
talking
read
about. No, you should. You're
It
talking
wasn't
about the
linked,
one-
so I just assumed you'd have to look it up.
No, it's linked. Should be both
It
the
was
deeps.
no, unless you just fixed it.
No, it's not. No. I haven't put it in there yet.
Ah, okay.
I have it. I have
I
it.
just-
I have it. I just haven't put it in
Is
there.
the one from the homebrew page?
Yeah, that one is one
Okay.
I've made up myself.
Oh, this is yours?
Yes, I have it. It's in a Slack message with a person because I was making it for them.
Oh, maybe this isn't the one then. It's on a site called dndwiki.com.
No, it's not that one.
I just assumed I had to look it up, so I looked up one.
no,
And I was
no,
reading.
no.
I'm like, this is cool.
I didn't realize there was an Oath of the Deeps on.
I think there was more than one, but I think it's just the same one.
Oh,
I
you're
thought it
talking
was
about
cool.
Oath of the Deep.
Isn't that what it says?
Yeah, no. I have Oath of the Deeps.
Oh,
I may change it to Oath of the Depths, but the same difference. This is.
so it'll
it
be a
is-
little different.
It is different than this one. It's
Okay.
So I took a bunch of things from a variety of different places and tweaked them and turned them into something that's. It's definitely different. It's definitely different than this.
Whatever. I'm still gonna do it. I think it's funny.
It'll be. It is interesting. You get some pretty interesting powers with it. Excuse me. All right.
So I've got a backup plan now. So it looks like I'm definitely going to go gunslinger. I will ask. I may do gunslinger bard for some more healing and a little round
Bard.
You guys.
skills with everything. Well, we also need more healing, so I won't go very strong bard, but
Why don't you just do full on bar?
because I don't want to. I don't know.
Who
Sorry.
needs healing when you can just kill everything?
Yeah, right. We do have 2 pallies, so there
Yeah,
is in
there's-
theory.
Yeah, what are
some
you
healing.
talking
There's a
about? We
couple
just stand. You
paladins,
stand next to the paladins, and then we
um,
mow everything down if we're just so strong. It doesn't
Depending on
matter.
what Brian takes, in theory, he might have cure light wounds. It's possible.
Yeah, I mean,
don't know
sorcerer could do
exactly.
it
I
too.
think
But
there's more healing here than you think there is.
We just don't have. I was thinking
Plus,
about
also-
taking a cleric because I wasn't sure if people are gonna do it. I was like, nah, this Oath of the Deep sounds funny.
Yeah.
I want to do it.
no, I mean that's cool. I mean, Bard also gives you jack of all trades, which is phenomenally good, especially for role playing.
Mhm.
But my other
True.
question would be, if you do play gunslinger, how are we? You said earlier on that you weren't going to have a lot of guns. I mean,
No,
they'd be
there's
expensive.
guns. There's guns. There's a. Again, if you look in the Welcome to Red Skies, there's a.
There's like
There's
No,
equipment
I
and
see the
weapons.
class.
No, but there's equipment and weapons. If you go down to there, this is all stuff that is available.
Okay, but I can use that immediately.
And
then.
it even talks about firearms. They're split up into simple and martial, and
there's
it
5
has the list.
martial.
It has the list
one
of actual
simple.
firearms in there. There's one simple firearm, which is the flintlock pistol.
And then there's 5 martial.
There's a bunch of
firearms.
martial ones, which are the musket, the blunderbuss, a long musket, which is basically like a long range, and then 2 other pistols, a heavy and a dragon.
Well, I thought you had mentioned that they would be later on. We'd be getting that.
No,
But okay,
no,
so
no.
we
These
can't
are
get
all
it
the
first.
base. These are all the base ones. Again, this campaign is set 6 months after my boys' campaign is complete, even though
Right.
they're not done yet. They're still playing. It's 6 months after that. Guns have been around. Guns have been around for a couple years already. It's just they're really starting to come up nowadays. More and more people are getting access to them. I mean, they're still not cheap. Like a blunderbuss is 500 gold pieces. So don't count your chickens before they hatch. And even the pistol is 125. But a gunslinger does
It's
start with
expensive.
one. Does start with one. So
Okay, so that's kind of what I was looking
yeah,
at. So
no. If you read the gunslinger, it does start with a pistol.
yeah, I'm kind of doing this on the fly, so I'm not.
Yeah, gunslinger. Oops, that's the gunsmith. I don't want that one. I want the gunslinger. They can, if you go with the quick build, they do get a flintlock pistol or a flintlock musket, your choice.
Yeah, I would definitely go with the pistol.
So, yep, that is. Nobody else gets one by default, other than I made an exception for Brian in the other game. But yeah, so there's that sort of stuff. So they are available. They're just not cheap. But like I said, Gunslinger gets one by default.
Okay.
Let's see here. Ground rules. So let's go a little bit over stuff. Ground rules. Seek to sail the seas with band of companions in cooperation to gain notoriety and treasure. The key thing being there in cooperation. You're pirates, or you might be pirates. It's up to you guys how you want to go at a certain point. The gist here is that you kind of want to stick together. I'm okay as long as everybody else is okay, or the people you're interacting with are okay with some inter-party squabble. Don't get me wrong. I want people to role play. I want people to have fun. But first and foremost, I want people to have fun. So, if it suddenly becomes John is stealing things from everybody all the time, it's not going to be fun for everybody. So we'll probably stop that really quickly. Not that I'm saying John would do that, but it's an example.
Never.
Just the fact that he did it to end the last campaign.
I played the super good person in the beginning, and then I completely changed to the super bad. I don't see the issue.
And then at the end, we're gonna.
I'm still bitter.
You failed your one save. What a fool!
So, just as an FYI, I mean, keep that in mind. Again, doesn't mean that there can't be some inter-party squabble. I'm okay with that. That's part of the whole interesting thing here is, like, let's say at some point somebody tries to kill Ilias because they find out he's a sorcerer and
Eyeless.
whatever. You know what I mean? Then, at that point you guys have to decide, is he on his own or are you guys helping him out? And some of you may be like, yep, we're helping him out, and some of you maybe no, we're not. And that's up to you guys and how you deal with that. But in general, you kind of want to help each other. Again, not necessarily in this case. Standard ability scores, but you can use a purchase variant. purchasing variant, basically you can either get the standard ones or you can do your own mix and match to get really, really good and really, really bad or medium across the board. It's up to you. When you select a race, you don't have to put that plus. If it says +2 to strength, you can instead say, nah, I'm going to put that +2 in intelligence if you so desire. But you can only do it. You cannot apply 2 sets of bonuses to the same ability unless specifically it says you can. Everybody gets 5 extra hit points to start. I believe in giving you a little more power or a little more health to start off with. Sundered shields. If you have a non-magical shield and you're hit by a melee weapon attack, you can choose to have the shield destroyed instead and take no damage from the attack. The shield is then destroyed. You don't get the bonuses from it or anything. But, you know, if it's really good against, hey, I just got hit with a critical hit that's going to take me down. I have a shield. I'm just going to destroy the shield and I'm good. We're doing a flanking roll, except it's not going to be advantage if you're flanking. You just get a +2 to the attack.
Nice. Flanking's back.
There is no alignment, as I've said before. There will be special rules for different classes based on if alignment needs. There was an alignment need for them. Paladins, clerics, and potentially warlocks are the ones that come to mind for that. Resurrection. So resurrection is going to be a little different than we've done in the past. I hate to say it, but I've been watching a lot of Critical Role again, and I really like the way they do the resurrection system. So when you return a character to, if you guys die, let's say you die 3 weeks from now, and somebody has Revivify and they try to revivify you, because that's something that you can do at early levels. You just has to be done within a minute. There is a skill challenge that takes place, and the caster makes basically a few people try to do some skills that will try to entice the spirit to come back to the body. So that could be as simple as, you know, performance by saying some kind of poem to get them back, or you know, other things. Deception even works by saying, you know what, I really, really like you. You're really, really cool. We really, really need you, even though you're lying your ass off. I mean, these things all still work. So that then, every success there decreases the DC chance by 1. And so I'll be very forward. If you... The typical DC for the first time you die is going to be a 10. So if 3 people are all good and roll their skill challenges and make it, then the DC goes down to like a 7, and the caster then rolls a D20, adds their casting modifier, and if it's above that 7, you come back. If the 3 people all fail their rolls, well, that adds 3 to the DC, so suddenly it becomes a 13. Same thing, still make that roll. But as soon as you come back, the next time you start with a DC of 11, not a 10. So every death increases the chances of you not coming back.
So when you've used your 9 lives,
well, I mean, you
pretty much
potentially
impossible.
have 20 lives if you can keep rolling high enough to come back. So, I mean, it's up to how that goes. Last thing here is the hero points. So everybody will start with 1 hero point. You'll typically get a hero point probably at the end of every major adventure. I will definitely be giving you hero points for interesting roleplay and stuff like that. And honestly, if you guys are like, see somebody do something really cool or something like that and say, well, why didn't Pete give him a hero point? Call me out on it and say, hey, shouldn't that person get a hero point? I'm cool with that. Hero points allow you to do a bunch of things. Act out of turn. So you can basically spend a hero point and say, I'm going to act right now. It counts as your turn for the round and doesn't change your initiative order. But you can basically say, you know what, I want to do it right now. Normally I'm at initiative 3. I want to do it on initiative 17. For this round, I'm going to spend that hero point. You can spend it to do an extra action. So you gain an additional action, bonus action, or move. So it's one of the 3, your choice. But you only get 1. So it's similar to, think of it as being similar to haste in some sense, except that you can actually do one of the 3 actions. Haste, you can normally just do an attack. You can do it for inspiration. So inspiration here doesn't mean bardic inspiration. It means, we're stuck, GM. Can you give us a hint? That's what it actually means. You can do it once for a recall. So sorcerer guy. Let's say you're getting really low in a fight. you don't have any spells left, but you really, really want to reuse that 5th level spell that you cast earlier in the day, and you're out of spell points and you're out of everything else, well, you can spend that hero point and get back a 5th level spell slot and cast that spell. Or any kind of special ability. Like it could be Action Surge, it can be whatever. It's just anything that has a limited use. You can use it to do a reroll, but you must take the second roll. Or you can use it to do something that would normally be pretty much impossible. So the good example I've given this one in the thing is that you can try to convince the Raging Dragon to give up its attack by doing, by trying to implore upon its good-naturedness. But you'd still roll a die. It still might be hard to do, but normally you wouldn't even have any chance. So that kind of thing. Last thing is this, and currently this is the only one that costs 2 hero points. Remember I said about that whole ritual thing? Well, you can spend 2 hero points and just say, nope, I didn't die. This is the only way you can do that without causing your death DCs to change.
So does it, you get it back after a long rest or something like that? Or is
Hero
it,
points?
yeah, or
No.
you spend them and they're gone.
You spend them and they're gone. The only way to get them back is, like I said, at certain points in the adventure, you'll get one. Like
Right.
after the first adventure, everybody will get another one. You start with one. After the first adventure, you'll definitely get another one. Like I said, if you do something interesting, role-playing wise, like let's say it comes down to the point where you guys are in a fight, and I'm going to use the sorcerer again, and you're fighting against a bunch of these people, and suddenly out of nowhere comes one of the Inquisitors from the Order of Seer, or from the Chosen of Seer, and they keep on trying to attack the sorcerer, but the sorcerer continues to try to help out his friends defeat the other people, even though he's getting attacked on all sides. I would probably give him a hero point for that, because he's acting out of preservation for the group as opposed to his own self-preservation. Another would be an interesting role-playing thing where, let's say, for sake of argument, you're normally a dwarf and you're miserly and you count every single coin, every single gold piece. And this one time it just made sense for you to just let it be, and you did. Well, you might get a hero point for that. So just things if you go against, like, if you're really, really role playing your character and things like that are interesting little tidbits that it's like, oh yeah, I totally see that is totally in his character, and I could totally see him normally not doing that just because that's just not who Chad is, but that's who this character is, and he totally did that.
Did that
kind of thing. So it's that sort of stuff. And like I said, if you're John and you say, hey, you know what? I really think that thing that Kat did was really cool there, and it really saved our bacon, our Morbicon. It really saved our Morbicon. Then I say, hey, I really think she deserves a hero point for that, and I will probably go, yeah, you're probably right. And you'll get a hero point. So there's certain story spots where you'll definitely get one, and then there are other ways of getting them. That's the best way to put it. They're a little more subjective. I'm not going to be trying to be too stingy about it, but they do allow you to do some really fantastical things at times. So it's not like you're gonna. I don't expect you to end the game with 10 of them in your inventory. Let's put it that way. I mean, you might get 10 over the course of the entire campaign. You might get 15 over the course of the campaign, but I would expect that you'd be using them, so you probably wouldn't end with all of them.
And you can't give them away. Huh?
You cannot give them away.
Okay.
Those are the basic
What's that
things.
thing that you said about the hit points again?
You get 5 extra to start.
Oh, okay, cool.
And again, all this stuff is in the Welcome to Red Skies article that's on the campaign page.
Red Skies at Night.
Mm-hmm.
Because right now, D&D Beyond has me at 6 hit points, and I'm wondering if that's right.
Well, you should have 8 sorcerer, I think, to start. So that seems wrong. Unless you've got a constitution that's giving you a -2.
I have a 0 constitution, so...
I would expect you to have 8. But...
Okay.
So, generalness about the campaign itself.
Oh,
there-
it's 6 plus my Constitution modifier.
oh,
So
I thought sorcerers were 8, but I guess they're 6.
maybe I should add more Constitution.
Yeah.
The initial portion of this campaign will start off kind of with a bang-ish kind of thing. We'll get going. There will be a good period of time, which is sort of I would call it pseudo open box or sandboxy, in the sense that you'll be
Right.
telling me where you're going to go. You're going to be exploring something, but it's a very limited area to explore. So I'm hoping that will give you guys an idea of how that will work on a grander scale when we get to the whole, when you get away from that and get off to the whole thing. Then there will be sort of another naval adventure, and then after that, by the end of that one, you guys should be on your own with your own ship, and be able to go wherever your heart's content. At that point, the campaign really kicks into sandbox world, where you guys can go wherever you want. There will just be events that I have that will further the entire campaign plot. It's also during that time where I really expect to throw in a lot of your background stuff. Your background stuff won't be as applicable to the first couple of adventures just because of where there will be and things like that. But once you start doing things in the wider world, they will definitely be applicable. So I expect to really weave character stuff in at that point. And that will slowly, I will reveal specific things that are all towards the major plot of the entire campaign. There will be some subplots, but the major plot over time will slowly get revealed. And at that point, the big bad or the bad thing will happen, and then we'll end the campaign. I'm expecting to play every Tuesday for 3 hours, maybe 2 years of game, maybe 3. Depends on what you guys do during the sandbox time. Like, if I see you guys are really enjoying just doing things with that, I will extend that period more. I mean, that part's going to be the meat of the campaign anyway. It's going to be where you gain your most levels. By the time you get to that portion, you'll be in the 4th to 5th level range to begin with. No, probably 4th level range. And I expect that to take you all the way into the 15th to 16th level range. So that's definitely going to be where you're going to have the meat of the game. So the more stuff you want to do there, the more, if you're having fun just going and trying things and exploring the world and stuff like that, the longer we'll play there, just because we can play. There's no set timeline there. That's the overall gist of it. I don't have too much more. Anybody have questions?
Are we starting out on a shipwreck? This ship is wrecking as we're.
I don't know. You'll have to see.
We're gonna all die in the first thing.
Yep, you're all dead. No, you'll see.
Yay.
You'll see.
Okay.
You will see what happens. You will start starting on a ship, but you'll see.
Well, I mean, I read this stuff, and then there's all like shipwrecks and stuff like that. I mean, I can't believe it.
A pirate-based campaign where you might have a shipwreck.
Wow.
Who would have
can't
thunk
believe
that?
Just can't believe it.
That's crazy.
That's some crazy talk.
I
That
want
is
the
some
ocean.
wild stuff, dude.
I want the
Boats
oceans.
wreck?
Oceans need to be more like sidewalks.
I don't agree.
So yeah, there may be some crashes in your future. There may be some
I don't
shipwrecks.
believe boats should be able to wreck. They're too good.
I mean, the initial adventure is intended to just kind of get you introduced to the whole thing and not make you worry too much about the wide world around you, per se, because it's all new and stuff like that. And there's still some things that I'm trying to get onto paper so that you have it. So it'll be more limited in scope, and then we'll slowly expand out from that. And the nice part about the sandbox bit is you guys can explore as much or as little of the world as you want. If you want to stick all around in the Sea of Tears and not ever go anywhere outside of it, you can. You want to go all the way up to Verdure, you can. I'm not going to stop you. To be fair, a travel from Emerdal all the way up to the Gulf of Ice is probably about 3 weeks, so it will take a bit of time, but you can do it. And there's plenty of ports of call along the way. It's not like you're trying to cross the Atlantic Ocean or something like that in this case. Like from Wensmar here to Kermigal is like 200 miles, so it's like a a little under a 2-day trip. By
So is
ship.
it? You said that they're like these islands are at different levels or different.
So all of this
floating?
map is all at the same level. Like everything you see here
Uh-huh.
with the water on it,
Yeah.
that's all at the same level. Think of it as one big huge island.
So do you have like a
but-
canal with dikes or something? I mean, like the little gates and stuff, or do you do like an escalator to get down to the other level?
Oh no, that's where you have to have an airship.
Oh, okay, an airship. Oh, that's right.
Airships exist, but you won't have one to start with.
When you get to the if you were to go to the edge, would you just fall off if you don't have an airship?
Depends on it depends on a couple things. One, if it's high tide, yeah, you're probably going to have problems because it's probably flowing over the bank. If it's low tide, probably not, because again, low tide is going to take the water probably under the lip of this stuff.
Oh, is there like some sort of barrier around the
Well,
edges?
no. I mean, just think of this as a basin of water. So the tides go up and down. So if the tide gets high enough, it's going to go over the top and start flowing over the top.
Ah,
If the
I
tide
got you.
goes down, there's still land there underneath. It's still basin like, so it's just gonna go below the thing, and rocks come up on the edge. And sure, you don't want to run into the rocks. That's still bad. It's like hitting a reef, so it's still not great for you. But that sort of stuff. Go to the edge. I'll give you a description, and you can understand what it's like.
Okay.
I'm to sail to the edge.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, peek over.
Mm-hmm.
Can you spit on the people below when you like...
It depends on where, but maybe. And it's, I mean, some places are
I'll
different.
just
than
go
others.
over here and stand on the edge.
I spit you.
So I mean, that's what it is in general. I mean, I'll describe it as you need to. There
So-
are so I will be very clear. Like, if you were to be over in the Aveline Isles, there are literally tons and tons and tons of, less than 1,000-meter wide floating islands above all of these islands. That's why the Ave live there. That's basically they fly up and down between the land down below and the islands that are up above.
So how do they float?
Well, you'll have to figure that out. That's a secret.
Ooh.
And then there's like
There are game
maelstroms of
things
some
and-
kind is around
yeah.
as well.
I mean, these are huge storms that don't seem to have
Wingardium
moved
Leviosa.
in known history. So they've been stuck right here the whole time. Things like that. Even these smaller storms, they ebb and flow, but they've been basically in those spots since the dawn, since all of known history as of right now. So there are some secrets you got to figure out for yourselves, or learn from other people. Yep. So
Cool.
that's all I have for tonight. I would have done some intro stuff getting you on the ships, but I have been working like crazy. So I finally got everything fixed this afternoon.
So,
Binder.
did you mention about money? I may have missed that if you said, but are we basically doing the money in the guide?
Yes.
Cool.
And Kat had some questions about the binder.
Yeah, go
If
ahead.
you want to talk later on or whatever.
No, I mean, I was open up for questions at this point. I was just trying to give you some basic background of where we're headed. That's all. So, what are your basic questions? I'm listening.
It's just how do I get the binder translated into the character sheet?
Well, so for now, just the character sheet that's on World Anvil, you can just type stuff into. I mean, it's not any big thing. So just get your ability scores and things in there. Your first level, so there's only a couple of features that you're going to have in there with the negotiation, the pact negotiation, and suppress signs. I think you get minor spirits might be a second level thing. So yeah, it's soul binding and suppress signs. I'm going to be spending this next week or so getting the binder into the VTT. So you'll be able to drag and drop and stuff and that sort of stuff into the VTT. So if you get your ability scores and your skills picked and those things put into the sheet on World Anvil, you only ever have to do that once. And once that's done, I'll translate it into VTT, and then we'll just use VTT the rest of the time. It's just
cool.
easier for me if you do it there. Then you can go do it whenever you want. I don't have to have the server up all the time on the VTT side, and then I just translate it in, and then we're good to go for the rest of the time.
Oakley dokley.
So,
Is Gunslinger in there already in VTT?
Uh,
Or is that another one that you're gonna?
it might be partially in there because I copied let me see.
I can look. I thought you might know it off the top of your head. It's not a
Well,
problem.
it's not. The thing is I'm sharing the same server as I am with other games, but I think I made those as specific items inside inside the specific world. So I'll have to remake them, or else share them as a compendium. They will be in here though.
Okay.
I want to sail into the maelstrom.
Yeah, if you'd like. Don't
I
recommend.
mean, I don't know if we can sail into the maelstrom, mostly because it looks like it's all on land.
Oh, you can take an airship into it. Why not?
But that sounds a little dumb.
Yeah, why not?
I've decided I want to be on a different boat from the wild mage who wants to sail into the maelstrom.
And look off the edge and
You can
Look off
you
the
can
edge of the
you can
maelstrom.
sit you can sit in the dinghy that will like tow behind the rest of the ship. That way, in case something goes wrong, it won't affect you.
Yeah, that's it. That's all I got. I do have some interesting ideas for some interesting spells. So the warlock and the sorcerer I may talk to you at some point
Cool.
about some interesting things. And there definitely is something that I've been working on that will come into play maybe in later levels for the sorcerer for sure.
Cool.
That you might find interesting.
Let's see. So yeah, both D&D Beyond and Foundry don't have anything but the draconic blood or whatever it is.
Yeah, they don't because
Yeah.
you have to buy the books.
Nah, lame.
But VTT I can always put in. I just haven't yet. You just need to let me know what you're going to be, and I'll put it in.
I think I'm gonna go for the storm one.
Okay.
That one seems really cool.
All right.
But the wild magic would be funny.
It would be funny. It would be funny moment.
It'll be wonderful.
I
but,
think it'd be hilarious.
But John
make
would
John
complain
mad
all
all
the time. Yeah.
Yeah, I would just make John mad like 24/7.
We do enough to destroy ourselves anyway. Do we really want some random stuff blowing us up too?
Yeah,
I mean,
but
Yes.
it's
Hear
called
me
dice. It's called dice.
yeah, we already got random stuff blowing us up.
Yeah, he's talking about more random stuff. That's worse than just getting a one. Oh, that is something I haven't put into the rules. Ones are not going to be hit somebody else anymore. They're going to be the equivalent of you have to spend the next action doing something to dislodge or pick up the weapon or something. They're not going to be. I'm not going to have you
drop
hit.
my wand.
Yeah, you're not going to hit somebody with it anymore. I've decided that I don't want to do that anymore. It's not. Feel like it's wrong.
It's not fun.
It's just not fun. Exactly. So this means that like you swing your sword and you roll a 1. Oh, look, it's embedded in this wooden post next to you. You can either spend the next round, your next round's action trying to extract it, or you can just let it go and draw a different weapon and attack with that one. Those are basically your options.
So if you're casting and roll a 1, that means your hands cramp.
No, I mean usually, like if you roll a 1 on your cantrip attack roll, that will I'll figure something out. That may mean that sure, it may be something like your hand cramps. And
I think the hand cramp thing is funny.
It's just basically it's the equivalent. Like if you misfire, if you roll a 1 with a firearm, it's a misfire. Your gun is jammed. You can't use the gun until you unjam it, which takes an action to do. So it would be the equivalent of that sort of stuff. Since we're already doing that for guns, I'm going to make that the same equivalent to the fumble rule for everything else, and just be easier for everyone that way. Or more consistent.
Sounds reasonable.
Cool. The one thing I'm seeing you guys don't necessarily have, although that may change with what John's thinking, is you don't really have a rogue of any sort. I'm not necessarily saying you need one in this campaign. This is not dungeon crawling is not necessarily going to happen a lot in this.
I must sneak across the water.
Yeah, exactly.
Sneak to the other side
I
of the
will
boat.
stealth to the boat.
That
I'll
being
stealth
said, there
across the
probably
water.
will be some locations and site-based stuff that you come across that may have traps, may have things you have to figure out and unlock. So I would just keep it in mind. I'm not saying you have to have a rogue at all, but you might want somebody who can figure out how to do trap finding or trap
Disarming.
disarming.
And what skill is that?
Exactly.
Exactly.
It's just thieves tools, I think.
Oh, yeah.
You can add that as if you are proficient in thieves tools, you can add your proficiency bonus to a dexterity check to do these things.
And I may cover that. I'll probably cover that instead of going bard.
Yeah,
I'll probably go rogue gunslinger.
Yeah, since we got
just letting you know that there will be that sort of thing that comes up. I don't want you to be
Healy
surprised
types.
and be worried about. I don't want you to not have something.
It is fine, friends. I will tank it. I'll just open it.
Okay.
And it can be that if you so desire. I mean,
It might kill me, but it'll
but
be
I
funny.
mean, there will be times when you do what I would consider the Indiana Jones stuff in this campaign. So
where you try to get the trap
Are you
going.
saying we're gonna find a golden idol on a weighted?
it's very possible.
I hope so.
That would
I
be
mean,
cool.
there is one thing that you guys do know, and that is, let me bring you back to here, is that there are strange kind of ruins on almost every single one of these islands. Not all of them, but many of them. Think of them as Aztec style, like ziggurats and jungle covered walls.
We're gonna
and
find a
things
gold
like that.
bust.
So there's tons of that stuff all through this area. I mean, some of them have been discovered, like places where there are known settlements and stuff like that tend to have less of them explored, like they've been explored already, but there are plenty of them still dotted all over this place. And no one knows why. It's some civilization that at least has been destroyed for many, many years, at least probably a century, or sorry, probably 1,000 years or more. And it's very possible you might come upon some archaeologists doing digs and stuff like that in these things. And if
I
you're
like
pirates,
the world building you're doing.
yeah. And if
Very cool.
yeah, and that's why if you guys are like, hey, I really want my character to have this kind of thing, and I haven't come up with it yet, let's just talk about it. We'll figure it out. Like, there's enough open space in this thing that we can, like your sorcerer thing about wanting it to be from a place like that's outside of this region and is on the run. Perfectly legit. We've got stuff for it. We can do stuff for it. Cole or Brian with the gnome warlock, we can certainly figure out some, like, we've already talked about the lost god that he's sort of and we'll talk more about that with him, and things like that I'm slowly filling out some of the pantheons and things like that. So I don't hesitate to say, hey, I'm interested in having this thing in a background. How does it fit in with the world? Where can we put it? How does that change things? Because I will definitely. Kat and I have talked about something else that it's done something very similar. So that as soon as she asked the question, I was like, oh my gosh, that opens up a whole world of possibility in this organization that I didn't even think of. And now there's a whole new insidious little sect that
Yeah, blame Cat.
But it's actually cool, so I think it's really cool. So I'm more than willing to, like, John, if you still want to do the monk thing, I haven't thought about any orders of monks yet, so I'm not opposed to it. I just haven't thought of it, so we would have to.
His wife is opposed.
So we
No,
would have
I'm
to,
not gonna do the one thing.
we would just have to sit down and talk it over and figure out where we would want to put it, how does it make sense there, that sort of stuff. That's
I
all.
thought you were going to do monk first.
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna do it. It just works really well with the Corsair combination, but no.
It's the same thing with certain races that none of you picked, but you could have picked. We would have had to chat a bit about it, and then I would have had to.
Oh, the verdure. Let's go.
No, not necessarily the verdure. Like, there are other
Or the
ones.
bird.
The Ave, I also have a pretty good idea of some things about. I have some pretty good ideas about many things. It's just I'm not, unless I'm forced to have to fill it out, I'm not going to. So, nobody wanted to play the Ave in either of these two groups. That's fine. I have an idea of what they're going to be like. I have enough information about them that I can go and fill them out more if I want to, when I need to. But I don't need to at this point. Until you guys decide you want to go over and, pirate them or something like that. Then I'll make up more about them.
Or we could just die and then our next character is an A.
Yeah, if you wish.
There
That's
you
totally
go.
fine. Yeah, I mean, I don't expect you to die early, but
What if I intentionally kill myself?
well, I mean that's
That's
pretty,
on you, bud.
that's pretty sad. I have to say it's
Yeah.
pretty sad.
I feel like you'd ruin some of the stuff he wants to do with when you
and-
with the sorcerer guy.
You won't meet Pharasma as much. in this
Oh,
world.
no.
Let's just
You
hope.
won't meet Pharasma at all in this one.
I'll miss her.
I actually don't have a god or goddess of fate in this particular campaign at this time. Interestingly enough.
Man,
Well,
Sounds
'cause
like
I
you
remember when
need
we
one.
talked about it, you didn't have really the names of the people.
Yeah, well, I do have the
So
names for for the major gods of the diary. The Seerly only have one god, Seer, so pretty easy. They just have a whole bunch
Wow.
of aspects that they worship.
Ow.
There are a bunch of other gods. Like I haven't sat down and said, well, here are the gods the gnomes worship. For the most part, they worship a lot of the same ones that the humans do, but that doesn't mean they don't have some of their own.
Oh man.
The main god of the dwarves is the Forge. Literally, that's what they call him, the Forge. Not Geordie LaForge, the Forge. So, and that's their main god, and they only worship pretty much that one with a few sub ones that they also pay lip service to. So things like that I have. If somebody were to play a dwarf and said, "Hey, I want to play a dwarven cleric," well, then I would have enough information for you to be able to start, and then we would fill out more. Same thing like that. I do have some lost gods, Brian, that I haven't told you about that I've been working on even before you decided to want to do that. So there's just some other things there that I have to think about how to for your particular one. And we should talk about it. I mean, who knows? I have some interesting ideas there. So things like that. I just because I have a world here doesn't mean that everything is filled out or that everything is set in stone. I want people to be able to ask questions and bring ideas to the table.
Very cool. I'll be thinking about it for sure.
I mean, and that includes organizations and stuff like that. I mean, I don't necessarily have a ton of organizations set up yet. I have a few, but not very many. And the Sea of Tears is specifically wide open in a lot of ways. Like I said, there was an ancient civilization that seems to have just gone missing, or at least there's remnants of it here. And I have what that was and how it came to be and how this region came to be. But beyond that, I don't have a lot for this region. So we will literally be coming up with it as you guys explore it.
So,
Do you
are there
think-
any
Sorry.
are there any rules about feats as far as anything not allowed, specifically mobility?
John, you can't have any feats because
Okay.
because
Just
you
checking.
abuse them.
You can't have
I
feet,
don't
only
abuse
arms.
them.
You abuse
I
them,
just-
John. You abuse them.
You
Okay.
can't have feet, only arms.
I'm
You'll
just
be
kidding,
four
John.
armed.
John, you
Single
can pick feats. I don't care.
Okay, I didn't
Single-handedly
know like
defeat
luck
defeat.
or
No, luck's fine.
luck's the only. Okay, luck and mobility were the ones I was asking about specifically. Cool.
Yeah. No, they're fine. I know ways of countering them now. And luck is pretty straightforward anyway. You get it
Just
like 3
forget
times
about
a day, and that's
feats
it.
in 5th edition.
Um,
I don't get any, I don't think, as a sorcerer.
well,
No,
you
you
can
Well, if you
always
played a human, certain type of humans can
Yeah.
get that instead of stats.
Oh.
yeah, and you can also at every 4th level when you get an ability score, you can instead choose a feat.
That's right, yeah.
Instead, you can
I
choose
forgot.
two pluses to ability scores, or 1 ability score plus and a feat.
Oh.
Yeah.
Didn't know you could do both. I think I thought it was either or.
No, it's
Actually, I think it's 2 stat bonuses or a feat, and some feats give you an ability bonus and the power,
yeah. So
like resistance, for example.
Yeah, I was. That's what I thought it was.
well, let me see. I mean, it's an optional rule, so I just have to find it.
But I'm all about +1 stat and a feat.
Yeah.
Oh
I
yeah,
think
that sounds
so.
awesome.
Oh yeah, it's just
It's
feat
either or.
It's either or.
Gotcha.
It's either or. And there are more feats I've added to the list of things as well. Like you can be you could be a sorcerer and take the gunmaster feat or something like that, and then you'd be able to use martial pistols. So there's deck brawler, there's deep diver, firearms expert. Firearms expert is the one I was thinking of.
Deck officer.
Nimble, quick smithing, and servo crafting
Why
are the
is
current
short
ones that I
still
have.
here?
So, and there will probably
you
be more as
Kick
time
him
goes
or
on.
something?
What did you say?
I think Cole unmuted himself on accident.
Ah,
Maybe.
what a fool!
So hear me out, Peter.
Mm-hmm.
What if
No.
in Caramal there's a secret underground organization of sorcerers, and I
Well-
learned a little bit of magic from them?
There doesn't have to be a secret underground organization of sorcerers because they can be openly there in Karamikal.
Okay.
So there could be an actual guild, magical
Yeah.
guild.
Now
there.
hear me out. What if they're secretly criminal? Ah,
Now,
Ooh.
instead, we could talk about
The secret ingredient is crime.
Instead, we could talk about some of the cities over here,
That's true.
and the answer is yes. There could be something underground there. Think of it, terrible because I also have slaves in this thing. But think of it as an underground railroad that gets you from these cities
Yeah.
to other places that are not trying
Yeah.
to kill you.
excuse me.
That's true.
Okay, so I mean, that's basically what I'm thinking of,
Mhm.
is like people that I would come into contact with trying to get
Mhm.
out of where I was.
Yeah.
And I'm not exactly sure what I can't see any of the city names. Are they on the actual map?
They aren't on this one. In fact, they're not even on the political map that's on the site. I haven't.
Okay.
Some of them have names, but I haven't put them on the maps yet. The Sea of Tears map is the first one where I actually put city names on for
Okay.
the first time. So,
Cool.
and I do have some names for them. I just not all of them have been filled out. But you would have learned early on, like if somebody had figured out that you had sorcery in some manner, then you would have learned some of what was going on. Like you would have known growing up that the Inquisition is after people who practice magic.
Exactly.
So you would have known that straight away. But then
Magic.
once you figured it out that you had some of it, then you would have probably either somebody would have found you or you would have stumbled upon somebody else and figured out. We can talk about it.
Gotcha.
There are ways we can figure it out. Is what I'm trying to say. Is like we can come up with what's going on and come up with an organization that's trying to funnel people out of Seer the Kingdom to other places. And it won't be the Underground Railroad. It'll be called something. But it's sort of the equivalent.
The
though.
above ground railroad.
Well, it's probably be some kind of, like the Calastian Society or something like that, or
Yes.
something
Something
name.
cool.
So, and yeah, we'll figure something out.
Cool.
And then there's Chad, who has the minimal background in the sense of I grew up on an island.
Yeah.
So yeah, I didn't hear yours, Dad.
It's sort of like Blue Lagoon, but
Yeah.
with no girl.
Well, your mom was there, but that's
Oh
a little
yeah, but
icky.
that's well, it's just
Okay,
mom.
that's just so wrong on so
It's
many
just
levels.
mom. Okay.
Yeah, that'd be
It
kind
was
of
his
weird.
sister in the movie,
He
so
like grew up on
Yeah,
one
exactly.
of these like small islands. And
Yeah, he got shipwrecked,
Yeah.
cast
yeah.
away.
But I'm a human fighter because my dad taught me.
Mhm.
He was awesome.
Yeah.
Cool, Dad.
Yeah.
All right, I got enough that I can. I will send out some emails. Well, maybe not emails, but I will send out some IMs this week. Also, check like I will also be able to
Wizard.
add like your characters have a sort of a page in the Elastrian. So if you were to click on like your character sheet in the campaign, it can go to a page which is your page in the campaign world. On that page, I can add notes to it that only you can see.
Ooh.
And so I will probably do some of that. I'll also IM you the same information this week so that you get it no matter what. But it will be things that you know that you can choose or not to provide to other people. And I will slowly expand upon that over the course of the campaign. Cat, at some point you and I need to talk about where you come from. But since you have amnesia right now, it's okay that we don't have that.
And then at another point, he just
Where did you go?
shut up. I was gonna make the joke. I was gonna say at another point, you need to talk about where you're going, but whatever. He ruined it.
Yeah.
Ruined.
I mean, by having amnesia, you're giving me carte blanche to do whatever the hell I want, which is great. Don't get me
Yay!
But at the same
Creativity.
At the same time, I want to at least get some ideas of what you're thinking, your background. And then I'll put some twists on it.
Secret tunnel.
Yeah, I'm just like
You don't
really
need it.
drawing a blank right now. That's why I went
No,
with
that's
the whole
fine.
amnesia thing.
That's fine. That's totally fine. Like I said, it just gives me carte blanche to figure out what I want to do with your character and where it's and why you got there. And it can be an
Because that's
interesting-
what everyone wants to do is give the DM a chance to totally F with your character's background.
Yes.
And
It's the best.
Robert basically did that from the get-go. I'm a sorcerer, and I grew up in a place where they want to kill me. I ran away. Great. There are so many things I can do now.
Yeah, they don't like me, so I went away from where they didn't like me.
Exactly.
But now they'll follow you because they don't like you.
I mean, and
Well-
even Cole's character with the half elf, and not knowing who his father is and things like that gives me some interesting
Race.
things to work with. So
All right, guys, I got to go run get the dog and check what's going on there. So I will talk to you guys later.
all right.
See you
I
around.
guess
Yeah.
that's all I have. So we will get started next week. And like I said, we'll start with doing some role play of you guys getting on the ship as it goes around through these things, and then we'll get into the meat of it. So everybody have a good week, and I look forward to this one starting.
Hey, thanks.
Sounds like a plan.
Thanks, you too.
All right.
See you around.